Hey everyone, this is Dr. Bainton. I'm just kind of finalizing a review on linkages that you watched last week, and I just want to make sure that everyone's on board. And I'm going to show you the next assignment, which is essentially using these linkages to making a physical linkage in SOLIDWORKS. Okay, so you can see here that I have my two, I guess 4 circles, 2 of equal size. I have these 2 circles here, which are 10-inch and 10-inch respectively. The units don't really matter as long as the relative sizes are approximately okay. And the larger circle, which is 20-inch and 20 inches. I just use this for fun more than anything. What I want you to recognize is that my intended angles are 120 degrees for the sweep of the A. So from this corner of this A to this corner of this A was a 120 degree sweep. The actual change in angle of the A, however, is 35 degrees. I set that up by making a straight line along the base of the A on the bottom one here, and a straight line along the base of the A on this top one here, and made that angle 35 degrees. And so then my linkage that you can see here is moves from this A at the bottom to this A up here. And remember, the pivot point of these linkages are the intersection points of these circles here. I'm going to undo that because it forced that A to be somewhere that I did not want it to be. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to take this geometry that I figured out with SOLIDWORKS and these sizes. So the sizes that you really only need to remember is 20 and 10. And I'm going to use those to create a linkage for a physical A that I create. And by physical I mean just a 3-dimensional A in SOLIDWORKS. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the associated A. So if I go to Open, we are in Robotics Engineering, and I'm going to go to my my A pivot part. Now you can see that I've created a couple of holes here, and that's essentially where you would put like a shaft or a bolt through just to keep them fixed. And we'll use these in SOLIDWORKS to actually create pivot points. And I'll show you how I actually did this. I'm going to go back into my sketch, and essentially what I did is I imported a sketch block. So if I go to Tools, Tools, Blocks, and then Insert, I inserted an A, and then I created a circle on the top corner because that was where one of my pivot points were, and on the bottom corner, which was the location of my other pivot point. So I created these two pivot points locations, and I put circles there because essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to put holes there that's associated with bolting through those pivot points. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete them again, and I'll show you how to properly extrude this in a second. So I'm going to go to Sketch, exit Sketch. You can see it's already extruded, but let's say that I were to delete this extrusion, and let's say that this was my sketch. I'm going to go to Features, Extruded Boss Base, and I'm going to click on the things that I want to have meat on it. So I'm going to first click on the actual sketch because the sketch is the important thing. So I'm going to click on this sketch, and it's going to have a problem because it doesn't have any closed contours that it understands very well. So I'm going to click on everything that I want to extrude. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations that I'm extruding. You might, for your letters, you may have to have different numbers of extrusions. But I'm just going to delete that part and press OK. And so now I have this extrusion. You can extrude it by however much you want, probably no more than a fraction of an inch though, otherwise it'll get a little bit crazy. And so this is the thing that I'm going to end up pivoting. Now I need 3 more bars, and the reason why I need 3 more bars is because if I go back to my linkages, I need 2 bars for the linkage, one which I'm calling a long bar here, another which I'm calling a short bar there, but I also need a bar that connects the 2 base points of this linkage. Because if I don't, then these twos aren't going to be fixed, and they're just going to float everywhere and freely spiral out of control. So I need to understand that as well. So this is my last measurement, I'm going to go to Measure, and I'm going to measure the distance from this point here to this point there. And that is, I can see under distance is 3.4673 inches. So you can just write that number down or memorize it or do whatever you need to do. And I'm just going to close that, and I'm going to go back to this part here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create three more parts: long link, short link, and the actual linkage sketch, or the actual fixed base. So you can see that my long link, I'll just show you exactly what I created because it's a very, very simple part to make. This long link is just an extruded slot that I made the center to center distance of the holes 10 inches because that's 20. This is my long link. Whoops. This is my long link, which corresponds to this, the length of this guy, or 20 inches divided by 2. I'm going to go back. So this is the length of my long link. I've just made it a 1/2 inch in thickness, but it doesn't matter how thick you make it. And then I also made a circle, which corresponds to the hole, and I made that 1/4 of an inch. I made all of my holes 1/4 of an inch. So then when I go and exit the sketch here, it makes me this this nice bar. So remember, this bar essentially is an extruded cut, or sorry, an extruded boss base of a sketch that is a slot with 2 holes at the end of it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the short link and for the fixed link. So this is my long link. I'll show you the short link, which is here. The short link is only 5 inches long because we can see from my linkage here, this is my short link, which corresponds to 10 inches divided by 2. So that's my short link. Again, I'm extruding a slot with 2 holes in it. That's it. Nothing fancy here. And then finally, I have my fixed link, or my fixed base, which is right here. Again, it is a slot with 2 holes in it. 1, 2. And the length of this, you can see I made it 3.47 inches here. If I really want to get picky, I can look at this number. I can evaluate, measure the distance between this point and this point. Remember, this is that number that you had to remember, which is 3.4673. I'm going to go back in 3.4673. 3.4673. I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to put 3.4673 inches. And that's going to be the exact length this needs to be in order to create my linkage. Okay, so this is the basic tutorial on how to set up all of your linkages, or how to make the parts for all of your different linkages. Essentially, all you're doing, remember, is you're making bars with holes that are appropriate distances apart. So one set of holes will be 20 divided, or will be half of your larger circle. Another distance between your holes is going to be half of your smaller circle. And then finally, the last linkage is going to be the distance between these 2 fixed points for your linkage. And of course, you need to actually create the object that you're going to be pivoting in the first place. The next video, I'll actually create the assembly in which it'll show you how to do the